What's going on, everybody? Doc Average Gamer Guys back again. Escape action. A little bit of a different episode here for you today. So here's what we're gonna do. If you watched the last episode, we hit level 15. We hit the Flea Market. Very, very excited about this. I talked about at the end of last episode that essentially we're just gonna spend some time. I want to talk through essentially what I do when we hit the flea market. We've got some other just kind of updates and things to go through, and we're probably going to just be doing more chatting than actual gameplay in this episode, but I do have a way to break it up. We're going to run some scavs, so I'm going to do a little bit of chatting. I'm going to talk about some things first. We're going to run into a scav. We'll chat a little bit more. We'll see if our scav come back, and we'll do that. So let me really quickly hit you with an intro, and when we get back, I want to talk hideout really quick when we get there.
EP located.
Okay, so we're at the hideout. Let's talk a couple of things really quick. Updates, water collector. We got it done. Very happy about that. So we're gonna go ahead and get this. Oh, just kidding. I had the items to do water collector. I thought I started this. I did not. So we're gonna get water collector started here. And this is probably where I'm gonna first spend a little bit of time and a little bit of money, not a ton, but a little bit, just to get some progression on a couple of things. The biggest thing that I wanna do is actually get lavatory up to level 2. So it behooves us, that's a big word. It's the best idea to keep working. Why do I want lavatory up to level 2? Let's talk about this really quick. Ice cream cones. Like purely, I want to be able to make the 60 rounders so that we can get them turned in, and I want to be able to start cranking that as fast as possible. So this is going to be a priority to essentially find these things, buy them, do what we need to do here. We're going to use our filter by function, and we're going to jump over. Now I'm going to run a couple of scabs, so I'm not going to buy these specific items, but before the end of the episode I am going to do that because we'll have water collector done. So as soon as I get in here, I want to be able to hit lavatory, get that rocking and rolling. So we're going to do that. The next one that I would want to focus on would be workbench, but we have some work to do here before we do that. As you can see, we need to get illumination done. We also need mechanic to level 2, and I don't think we're too far off from mechanic at level 2. Yeah, we need a couple of quests done, which we could actually probably do 2 rep 1. That's 4. We're close if we did almost everything we have here. But I do want to get this up. This just opens up some good crafts for some ammo, as well as a couple of other things that we're going to need. The biggest thing that we're going to craft pretty early on is we're going to continue on with some wires. We might do a few other components that we'll need to turn in at some point, but that's going to be the biggest thing. This isn't the biggest priority, but workbench is really good, and the utility for it, the more often you can use it, especially for crafting solid ammo, the better off that we're going to be. Now, illumination is essentially kind of just a blocker. What I think I'm going to go ahead and do right off the rip here is just buy what we need, and you can quickly search for these. You can certainly try to buy, need 8 of these. I just buy all of these. All right, I bought 1 extra, so we're gonna go ahead and get illumination up. This is nice. This opens up. Level 3 is the last level, so we're making some good progress there. We'll keep our eye out for ES lamps, wires, and a couple of other things. And then obviously, again, we need mechanic and we need generator up. Now, Getting illumination up helps us. We can work towards getting vents as well as the generator up. I like to get the generator up to level 2 because you get some additional storage spaces. So it's essentially in the early game like almost like a mini little stash upgrade, if you will, because you can just hold on to some additional fuels. That's a pretty bad reason for doing it, but I like to try to get that up. Our other main focus here should be vents. Now, we have a car battery. I'm going to buy this car battery, though. They're relatively cheap, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to save the car batteries I find in Raid to be able to hand them in for car repair with therapists. So that's going to be big. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to pay that. We're going to get vents upgraded and get that on the move. Really, the next set here, we might as well just buy this because we don't have these done. So we're going to go ahead and construct med station. I would like to get this to level 2. We need therapists up to level 2 for this. And we're not sitting too terrible. 3 and 6, we would almost have it if we were able to get both of these done. So a little bit of additional quest progress, and then we'll look at getting that rocking and rolling. This is just a good utility one, and we need to keep kind of med station up and running. We do get some decent crafts at level 2 that are useful to us. We'll keep an eye out for these medical tools. We should be able to find, and we have basically everything else, which is nice. So we're not going to worry about that one too much. Now, a couple of these are pretty simple for the most part. I am going to just go ahead. I want to keep my eye on my money here. I'm going to go ahead because a lot of these items at this point are relatively cheap. Now, again, if you play this game a little bit more casually, and you could see, and I'll jump back into the stats if you missed the last episode. You don't need a ton of time to make some good progress if you know what to focus on and you have some success surviving the raids. I think we had 21 total raids, 13 survives, and we made it to level 15. And you can see we're getting a bunch of stuff up to level 2, which is really good and solid hideout progress. So we had that done. We'll go ahead and get heating up, and then we'll look at rest space as well. We need heating and generator, have everything we need, with the exception of Ragman, up to level 2. So you can see we're on our way pretty nicely, actually, to a whole bunch of level 2 requirements. Now, dismantling the wall. I could probably find one of these. We'll spend the 80K because we're going to make some money back. We'll spend the 80K. I do want to just purchase this. So we're going to do that. We're going to crack this wall open, at least first stage. And then essentially from that point, we do have a shooting range that we could open up. This is a really nice quality of life upgrade, but not the most necessary thing. You can save your materials, do this later. If you have the stuff and you do a lot of scav runs and you have no problem finding these items, by all means do this. There are some good bonuses when you get this up to level 3, but that's going to take some time for us. So I'm not going to focus or worry too much about that. A large part, because if you are playing on a standard account, there is some tie over. So the next big thing for us to focus on is to work towards these items and getting our stash upgraded to level 2. How you can see it takes 2.5 million rubles, so we need to do a little bit of ruble grinding here. We've kind of focused on everywhere else in the hideout, and then we'll put some focus here. But getting mostly everything up to level 2 is really good. We'll look at security. This one's going to be a later game one. We need illumination up. We need some pretty expensive items, Nixers being the most, which are actually surprisingly cheap at this point. Usually those are in about the 50K range. So this one's not too bad, but we have to get illumination up anyways. So we'll wait for that. And then we can look at nutrition unit. This one's probably the least usable. We need lavatory up. We can find probably all of these things. So we're not going to spend any money there. So that's what I would do. The next thing that I want to just quickly touch on is what items should you hang on to sell? This is tough, but the most simple answer to this, because there are a lot and it's really dependent on when you open the flea market. If you open the flea market relatively early in a wipe, I would say sell things that everybody needs. Wires. CPU fans are probably a pretty good one, kind of a month or 2 months into the wipe, just because everybody needs them for Bitcoin and some of the other higher upgrades. Sugar and water filters, as you're going to come to see right now, are extremely valuable. We're going to make some good money off of that. There are a couple of specific weapon parts, specific to some weapon builds that are hard to come by, that will also fetch a pretty nice penny. Those items that can't be bought or bought easily from a trader, mostly anything at trader level 4, usually runs for a pretty high premium in comparison to what the trader sells it for. That's kind of a really, really bad take on what you should sell. Nuts and bolts are obviously really good. Usually nails and screws are also really good because you need a ton of them. Corrugated hose, as always. Relays, surprisingly enough, especially earlier in the wipe, are also really solid. So here's what we've got here. I pulled out, I don't have quite as much as I would have hoped, but a couple of things that we will add. I'm going to do water filters. Now I could set, if you ever want to remove this, by the way, you can set your condition to like 95% and hit OK, and it will pull all the crappy ones out that are just up to 100. So you can see, had we not done that, we could have easily sold it for way less than we're going to get. I'm going to pop these both in here for probably 128, 250. I want to sell this stuff pretty quickly. I usually sell at a slightly cheaper discount than whatever the lowest is. If it's a hot item like this, I could easily put at 135, which I actually will, just to test this. I'll put this at 135. These are going to sell super, super fast. The other nice part ends up being is we have 2 offers. It doesn't take a lot to get up to 3. We're going to try to move pretty quickly to that. But I want to sell these things fast just so I can get everything sold and open these up. So we'll add, we're going to hit that. You'll see those kind of spike away. Interestingly enough, metal spare parts also sell very, very quickly and really, really well. We already had maybe one or both of our water filters sell. We're going to sell all of these. These are used in quite a few crafts, as well as some hideout upgrades. And just typically, I feel like are rarer, but I find a ton of them. So you choose what to do with those, but they are good. Anything that turns into sugar, including these aliancas, are also really nice to sell. There are some other food items. Food items specifically do seem to sell pretty good. Even things like your MREs, your Iskras, because people use those in between raids. Also sell really nicely. Sugar is always a good one. This will be at the lower side, especially early on in the wipe, because it takes a while to get to the booze generator, which is where this is used the most. But when you get there, or when people start getting there, these start skyrocketing. 50-ish K or right around there is usually about where they settle, which I think is a pretty good price. Interestingly enough, air filters sell quite well as well. I think there's a barter for these, which is I think why these go so good. But we're gonna go ahead and sell that. Some stims are also pretty good. Just be careful with these. SJ6s are solid. Zagusans are really good. Propitols are really good. Interestingly enough, like morphines actually sell pretty solid. There are some new stims that also sell really, really nicely. So keep your eyes out for that. This waffle maker, you can see this, I don't think is trader open or buyable. I'm not sure, actually. I would have to go back to my main account or take a look. But this one sells really nicely because this is a top end suppressor that lots of folks use. So again, we were hoping for things to sell quickly. Make some really nice progress here right off the rip. I'm going to put this at 105,750. A bit of a discount. Make some really nice money. And then this actually should sell pretty well. I sold this one last because I anticipate that this one's going to probably take the longest to sell. I would typically start with barter items first. In selling priority, if you have limited spots, barter items first. Go most popular to least popular. I think you could probably throw stims in there because they get used relatively often. And then I would go weapon mods. The reason for that is most people are buying a lot more of the first 2 things than they are weapon mods. You know, if you're dying a lot and you're buying a lot of weapons, it is what it is. But typically that's how that's going to go. And they're not buying them in large bulk volumes like some of the other things. It would not surprise me if the 2 water filters I posted were bought from the same person because they're looking to pick up multiples. So do just keep that in mind. We'll post this. And then that actually pretty well settles it for the things that we were hanging on to and we were looking to get rid of. Now, the nice part here with our upgrades and with some other things, we opened up quite a bit of space, which is really, really good. We have one spare light bulb here, which I don't think I'm going to need. So I'm actually going to also sell this, because we bought the one if we can. And you don't need light bulbs after level 2, so do keep that in mind. If you're ever curious what you were looking to sell, you can go over to your offers, pop this open. As anticipated, that was going to sell the least, and surprisingly, Alyanka's did not sell very quickly. If you want to look to see where you sit price comparison, you can click on it. We're really not too far off, so this should go. So I'm not surprised that we're kind of sitting here with what we've got. So quick down and dirty, how I would focus on that. I'm gonna wait to pull all of the money. We should be opened up to sell this now. No. God dang it. Somebody bought one of the thing. They bought one of our chocolate bars. There we go. Okay. And then we're opened up here. This is actually good for us. Sometimes it's good that you have to wait. Make a little bit more money. So I'm going to wait to collect all of the money up until we get through our couple of scab runs. But what I'd like to do is jump in, get some scav runs, and then when we get out of that scav run, I'm going to talk about what keys I'm going to purchase to get ready. And there might be one additional item that we grab to make our life a whole lot easier. So we'll see where we finish up when we get there. On to a scav raid. We are in. Oh, baby. Man, I want to get out with this, actually. I did a nighttime raid. That would be really nice if we could get that. We have to turn a handful of them in, so it's like... that would be good. Crazy lighting. Very good chance this is looted, but... let's take a goosey gander anyways. No ears, unfortunately. On the back side. God, this is loud. Holy crap. Yo, dude, what's up?
Hi.
I'm just a scab, man. You looking for anything?
A flash rush. That's it.
I'll let you know if I find one.
There's some scav downstairs being like sketchy.
Okay, thanks, man. Found a couple of good items. I'm just gonna... kind of just squeak around here. Go through the back. Make this a quick trip. Found a bunch of light bulbs. So the other nice part about pushing a little bit of focus on the hideout is that once you get past a few of the items, again, like light bulbs that we're picking up, we can then turn those into pretty solid profit on the back end. And we should do well to make, I would say, some more money on average per raid if we're smart with what we pick up. So as you saw, I usually assign kind of about a 10K value to light bulbs. They don't usually dip too far below that. Sometimes they will. But that is a pretty solid way to make some good cash. And again, we don't need to hang on to them necessarily. But it's good for us from a money-making perspective. We also are going to need spark plugs, so we'll hang on to those. I need to be looking for like T-plugs and a handful of other things. We'll look for some of the bigger items like propanes and power supplies. They sell okay still at this point. Need a few as well. Looks like we're probably gonna be SOL on a lot of this. Just gonna try to fill up if I can. This looks like it was pretty well hit. I'm also just keeping my eyes peeled again for water filters. That'll be our best way to make some money at this point. A lot of people don't hit these duffel bags. I couldn't tell if that was an AI scav or not. He was looking at it like he was. Like actually, I was like pretty sure. Just gonna try to fill up here. What else we got? I'll drop this. This isn't too bad. This is what we get out. I will not be too upset at all. I do always check right back through here. That's why right there. There's 100K. Sometimes you can find 2. And these, I know the lighting on this right now is probably god-awful. Apologies, it's actually hurting my eyes a little bit. We need this. This will sell better. We'll be greedy. So I'm gonna get rid of this and this, because we need packs of screws for ourselves. Better to find it than to buy it, typically, if we can. So back through here, and then I'm out of here. This would be a really good raid. Okay, even better. Probably should have hung on to the spark plug and got rid of one of the light bulbs. Not too big of a deal. No, it doesn't. And we're out. All right, good little scav run. Gonna be very prosperous. And we should have no problem getting everything out. Beautiful. Okay, so what do we do from here? We hold on to some things and we sell some other things. I think I have a key. Yeah, I got some keys in here. Let's just move this stuff around. Put these down. Keys would be another good thing that you could absolutely hang on to and sell if you wanted to do that. If you found some solid keys in some previous raids or runs, that is another very much preferred method of hanging on to some items and making some money on the back end with access to the flea market. So we have a lot of propanes. I'm going to just hang on to this for now. We're going to hang on to this. We're going to pretty much hang on to everything, actually. We'll need most of that stuff. Keep the tea as well. You can sell this. These vests actually have a craft in laboratory, I believe level 2 or level 3 for some Cordura. I think, do I have my cowboy hats? I think I do. Yes, I have both my cowboy hats. So we'll sell that. We'll sell this. We're definitely going to sell this. I'm going to just put this at 1 32,250 should eventually sell. Probably sold right away. Again, you can see that these have fluctuated pretty drastically. I'm going to put them at 8,250. They should still go for that. And then we'll secure this as well. And we'll sell a handful of these items to move this stuff around. Again, remember, I probably said this before, but just make sure you're spreading your money out. The other thing to be really careful is when you get to the flea market, one thing I see a lot of people do is they start selling everything on the flea market. That's not bad, especially if the margin for the money that you're going to make is pretty good. Always try to capitalize on that. It just makes you have to farm less money, and it's just good overall in practice. What I will say, especially once you hit level 15, though, you can see I have all level 1 traders still. I think the only one I probably have money spent for is probably Therapist, because we've bought a Lucky Scab junk box. You buy this, it's going to be good to go. You literally don't have to spend a penny more with her. Outside of that, everybody else still needs money. Skier and a few of these other folks, even Jaeger, you're probably not going to buy a ton of things from. So do keep that in mind. I would love to see in the future for Tarkov just a better opening set of items that are a little bit more useful. Even just some really basic weapon mods that everybody can jump in on and spread them out nicely, but that's a balancing thing. So just keep in mind that you still have to continue to get progress there. You still have to sell some stuff. You still have to work on Peacekeeper. You have to work on Mechanic. Again, we've sold, I feel like, a lot of stuff. There's not a ton that we're going to buy from him at this point, because a lot of it's barter items, ironically enough. But it's just, there's not a ton here. So continue to sell, continue to balance that. Make sure you get up to at least that level 2 amount, and then you can continue to just be smart about where you put it. But again, that's one thing that I see happen a lot. Like right now, I'm going to repair this and sell this just so that we can do that. So what are the next things that we want to look at now that we have flea market access? On a solo standard account, there's one that is critically huge. You can wait for this. I do recommend waiting. It's usually a lot smarter. But if you have the ability to farm up some money, and you've been really smart about what you're picking up and what you're hanging on to, and let's say you get to the flea market and you make a ton of cash, there's one item or one set of items specifically that I would tell you are the most important, and that's one of these. I very, 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 very strongly recommend a docs case. Now, if you have the ability to do the trade for this, that's usually recommended, although let's take a look at valuables, because a lot of times what you probably are going to end up having to buy is a bronze lion. Now, bronze lions right now at this point are 100, we'll call them 120k. You're going to need a couple of cats. I think it's 3 or 4. That's another 40k. And then you're going to need a handful of horse figurines. The barter, as you could probably tell, is probably slightly better than just buying this documents case straight up. However, for ease of use, if you don't have the ability to do the barter, etc., spending 300k and picking one of these up is usually a very good idea. I am not going to do it at this current point because I want to pick up a couple of quest keys that I know that we're going to need very early on, and I'm going to talk about a couple of other keys that I think are smart to buy if you have the money, and depending on what kind of map you think you're going to end up using it on. If you don't want to go docs case, what you could look to do is you could look at a key tool that's more expensive. This conversation comes up a lot, so I'll cover it here. Key tool, docs case. I say docs case. Here's why. You can still put keys into it. It still has really good space. You can put a lot of keys into it. In addition to that, if you don't have a ton of keys, especially at level 15 and early on, buy the docs case because you're going to be able to put a whole ton of stuff in there. Key cards, different types of documents like intelligence folders and small diaries, large diaries, SAS drives. There is just SSDs. There's just so much stuff that you can put in there. It essentially, in a certain aspect, doubles or even can triple the space inside of your container, especially with just a regular container like we have. And that is just pure money that you can pull out of the raid, even if you die. We go to dorms, we hit a couple of safes, we get smoked in the head, we've picked up cash, we've picked up some euros, some dollars, and just a handful of other things that are going to be really, really valuable. So I recommend Documents Case. It is cheaper. If you don't want to go all of that route and you still want to have some access to picking up some keys, if the game will load, I would suggest a Gingy keychain. I would expect these to be probably in the range of like 40K. No. My game's broken? There we go. Okay. Okay. I'm actually going to search this so that hopefully this problem doesn't happen. 48K. Why this? It's a container size of 4. So you can hold 4 keys in it. So this is a really good cheap option. Again, in lieu of like a key tool. Again, if you're strapped for cash, if we don't have an option, I'll probably pick this up just so I can put a couple of keys, like quest keys specifically, in our container. And we have this. Most likely though, we'll look to save up the money and get a Documents Case. Let's talk keys. And let's just, before I do that, let me just quickly see. All right, I got 15 minutes for Scavenger. I'm not going to talk for 15 minutes. Let's just talk and think about keys that we want for quests here. The first thing I would really strongly recommend is to take a look at what quest keys you need for some of the early game quests that are coming up. So, for instance, 206. We need the 206 key. Do I have this key? Am I dumb? I don't think I have any keys anywhere. Why would I have... Oh, I probably have it searched from... Probably from Therapist, actually. Okay, so Flea Market. 206 key for 4K. We're going to buy that. That's going to get us Operation Aquarius. We're going to look for... I would love to do 114. 110... not bad. Let's see what 204, 214. These are all probably keys that we're gonna want to get. 220. How much is a marked key? 2.2 million. This is really the one I think we're gonna want pretty fast. Just because we're going to have a couple of quests to do in here. We also are going to need, probably more importantly than that, is going to be the, how much is a cottage backdoor key? 250. We need, where is it at? I can't think of the name of the key. We do need an operating room utility key. We could get in there, but I'm not too interested in going to Lighthouse, but this would be a good one for us to grab. Portable bunkhouse key we're going to need pretty quickly, but we can get to that when we get there. ZB14 would be a really good, this is a really good utility key. I'm just going to buy this, actually. This is a really good utility key. We do a lot of woods, so that would be really smart. Ultramed, I don't think is, I personally don't believe is worth it at this minute. This is what we need. We need the director's office key. So I'm going to buy that for 47K. That opens us up. Let's just make sure. I have the guard desk T 303. That's really it. We have not done a lot of keys here. We also want to take a look at our tasks again. What are we going to be looking for? This is operating room key. Again, we'll come back to that. This is Tarkon director's office key. This is 206. We'll find this key. We'll find this key. And I think that is probably it at the moment. I really do think we are in the best position to continue to buy. So one other suggestion I would make, depending on what maps you play, grabbing some dorm room keys for the safes is a really good idea. You're going to go to dorms a lot early, no matter what point of the wipe you are, to get a bunch of quests done. You get to the flea market, and especially if you're getting there like now or just recently got there, go in and buy the safe room keys. You can hit both sides, both 3-story and 2-story dorms, make a ton of money. I'm going to buy them probably, and I will show you where we can sit with that. The other recommendation I have is to actually buy some health resort keys. There are a ton of really, really valuable keys. Go on the wiki, take a look. There's a lot of conjoining rooms, which you can find. The key for one is typically cheaper than the key for the other, like 222 and 226, both combined. You could save yourself 10K by buying this one instead of this one. Okay, so just be smart with this. Really, the big thing that we want is going to be West 301. This is going to be actually really pretty cheap. I'm going to wait on this, although I shouldn't, but we're not going to Shoreline a ton yet. I want to get a couple of more things opened up. Again, there's some really, really solid keys in here, and at this point in the wipe, I'm actually very surprised how cheap, really how cheap that was. And then is Sanitar's office on here? I was really curious to see. It's the tape key. Key with tape. Can't remember if it starts with K. Eba Arms. Key with blue tape. Wow. Only 90K. Crazy. Crazy. This is like the hardest key to get when it was just barter only. I'm so happy they made that change. That is so good. So good. Another great utility key, which I'm not going to grab, but I very much recommend if you have the cash, is this bad boy right here, the factory emergency exit key. I would also strongly recommend picking yourself up an Emercom key. You're going to have to go here pretty quickly. Decent key for interchange if you want to do that. So that's my recommendation. What else would I tell you to definitely buy? That's usually hard to find. Cottage backdoor key. You absolutely need one of those. And the car dealer office room key. Actually, this one, it's either the office room key or the closed section key. It's probably the closed section key based on the price of this key. Difficult to get into. You can look at marked keys, but I would not recommend that. Stash upgrades and things like that are usually more valuable. This is essentially a risk-reward proposition. You could buy a dorm room mark key or this marked key if you had the cash. Go in there, find 4 docks cases and 3 injector cases and make your money back and make some profit. Is that going to happen? It could. It certainly could. I don't know. You have to survive the raids, so you can sell them on the flea market. But keep that in mind. But you can do this if you have the cash. Dorm room mark key, really good option if you end up having the cash to be able to spend. I would definitely recommend stash upgrades before that. So I have chatted a lot. That's kind of my thought process. The only other and last thing that we are going to do, and I probably will do this off stream here, is to work on these 2 gunsmith quests. We want to work towards mechanic. We just want to churn through. We need to get a couple of the gunsmith tasks completed, make some pretty good money off of these, decent experience. We need the rep for him as well. So we're going to look to probably spend our cash and do that. Definitely part 2 and probably part 3. Now, the thing to take in mind is some of the rewards, I believe, have been adjusted. So capacitors, bundles of wires, light bulbs, these are all things that will be really helpful to you. So think about focusing a little bit on quests. I recommend, again, quests and keys being one of the top things that you spend some money on. If you're strapped for cash, we did pretty good. We had some. Let's check where we're sitting at from this perspective. I've got 8 minutes left, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go ahead and receive all of the money, and I guess we had some. Oh, I finished. I think that was my daily from the other day. Let me go ahead and just receive all this, and we have 1 million rubles. So that was a very successful selling session. I'm going to sell these 2 things, and we're definitely going to go And I'm going to do it in this order. I'm going to buy the docks case. I'm going to buy some of the keys that we need, and then I'm going to buy the docks case. And then we'll probably jump into our weapon mod. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to do that. Maybe jump into the scav raid, and then we'll close out. So we'll see you there. All right, and we are into our second scavvy. Ooh, and we have a lot of space and a terrible shotgun. Holy moly. All right, we went early morning for this one. I'm gonna do the old round the back. I did buy a bunch of stuff. We'll cover that very quickly. I really do hope, and I apologize, this episode wasn't full of a ton of Tarkov action in terms of raids, but I hope it was helpful and valuable, and just some good insight on kind of where I focus and where I think, you know, some areas that folks can focus on to be helpful. One comment I do want to make, because I might forget to talk about it, is I did also look at a couple of the requirements for some of the gunsmith tasks, and I'm gonna retract a little bit of what I said, just because a few of the items are not purchasable. Specifically the two magazines that you need. You need a 60 rounder for the AK, and you need a 50 rounder for the MP5. So I say that because you cannot purchase those on the flea market. At least I need to check. I don't believe you can still at this point. So with that being said, focus on your keys, focus on getting a docs case and your barter items. It scared the shit out of me. Like, actually. And if you do that, you should have some success. And it's a good way to utilize your money. And you can see with a little bit of prep and a little bit of hoarding, you can actually do really well to have quite a bit of money by the time you get to that flea market. And it's just a matter of hanging on to some of that stuff, kind of prioritizing it, and trying to make space. I'm gonna keep looking for some barter items we need. I don't think I need the drill. Again, it's interesting because now the loot runs take a little bit of a different perspective too. This condensed milk sells really good. We're just gonna try to like literally fill ourselves up. Loot's here. Yours would be nice. Master tool set, not bad. These are like 20k a pop. Ooh, and there you go. We need one of those for our upgrade. Is this a tool set? It is. That's a money saver. This kind of route that I'm doing, if you've watched Hardcore, you're very familiar with this. This is extremely successful, especially later on in a wipe, where people don't give a absolute shit at all about barter items. They just don't come back here anymore, which is amazing. We're gonna start needing these. I think I have a good handful of them, but G-Phone's big. We need those found in raid. The one thing I'd like to do is keep working towards the barter on the holding neck, actually. That is a good one for us to be able to grab. I don't want to make anybody go deaf. We did not need to buy Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer is already 80k. I'm not going to take it. We'll make 100k back and some other things. I am going to turn this up so I can hear. Paste. Fuel is really nice. And we could have a nice couple other really good items here. We could have a nice run of this. T-Blood. The infamous T-Bug. Yo, hello. What's up, dude? Looking for anything, dude? You looking for anything specific? Okay. See ya. The guy looked pretty geared. Looked like he had a bunch of attachments on his guns. Huh. I don't even want to mess with it. I just want some stuff, you know? Tool set barter items are good with me. Got a crowbar too, that's kind of cool. Oh, we already had sunglasses. Damn. I think I have a B11 already, but we'll take it anyways. Pretty sure I have one sitting in the stash. We'll need that. Tons of wires is great. Oh, defuel. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, sir. We actually need 2 of these for lavatory. That's money, money, money. We got a big WD-40 on us already, so should be good there. Metal fuel tank. Do I take the metal fuel tank? I don't need this. I don't need this. Yes, yes. Don't technically need that. Don't know if I need that. I am gonna take it. Then I'm getting the heck up on out of here. Really, let's look at these boxes in the back in the bag. Just in case we get lucky enough to have ourselves a 16-round magazine in them. Could happen. Never know. I don't know if I need that either. Is this the last strike I need? I don't know. Was it a strike or a Wilston? I don't remember. I don't remember. Could actually take that mount, but what's up, dude? Just in case. Just in case. You never know. All right, good little run here. We're gonna go quick. We're gonna get everything down, and I will jump back and show you how we did. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna close out this episode with saying very successful. We had a really good couple of scav runs there, made a ton of money, found a lot of things that we needed. In addition, we're now in so much of a better spot when it comes to our solo standard playthrough here with the docs case and the keys that we bought. So I just want to talk through these again really quickly. I essentially bought all of the keys, the exception of one that I'm going to need, or two, I guess, that I'm going to need for our quests on customs. We're going to focus on that. We're going to be spending a lot of time there in the very near future, getting our quests done, getting some things. So I wanted to get that. So we have the director's office key, 105, 110, 114, 203, 206, 204. This is just because I am like that. 214, 220. Got our bunkhouse key. We did find previously 303, so we didn't have to buy that. That is a quest key. I also went ahead and picked up our Emercom medical unit key. We're going to need that pretty fast, like we talked about earlier. You saw I bought the ZB14 utility key, which is great. And then I bought 3 keys for Resort and for Shoreline that we're going to use relatively quickly that are also just pretty decent. We bought 112. I bought West 112, West 220, and West 301. We find ourselves there. These are going to come in pretty handy. 301 is absolutely fantastic. We can find a lot of really good loot if we get some good spawns and are able to get in there, or it is unlooted. So we wanted to make sure to pick that up. Obviously, I then also bought the docs case. What you saw is I took a wild fluctuation. So we were up to about 1.1 million. I dropped down actually to 95K after I bought all of those things that I wanted to get. We then... I had a couple of things from yesterday that I didn't pick up, or the previous day from recording. So I went and picked those up. Was able to sell that. I had 2 water filters as part of that. So that was about a quick 300K. And then from everything that we just sold, we bumped back up to 800K, which is really, really nice. That's a solid place for us to be. Plus, again, we've got a ton of keys and I'm ready to head to customs, which is absolutely awesome. So a ton of success here. The strikes I actually did end up needing, so I want to jump in here and I want to actually get this complete because Bad Habit will be done, which is great. I'm so happy. I'm just so happy I took that. So we can get this finished up and we'll pick up some stuff from here, get some good rep with Mechanic, and we are on our way up to level 2. Again, I talked about this really quickly in the Scav raid. We can't complete either one of these. I just want to make sure. I didn't actually look, and it looks like we also have some new quests. Baseball cap and beanie, and extract through courtyard, and scavs from distance of more than 40 meters. Yeah, I would have loved to do any of that. It seems like she really wants to give us some whiskey. So, cool. We got here. Got these rewards. We're just going to really pretty much sell just like all of this. I'm going to sell this just straight to Mechanic. Again, we're working our rep here. So we'll pick up some additional cash there. Not too bad. Sitting very, very nice. Very happy. Very, very happy with progress. As I talked about, we got a lot of stuff done in the hideout. We made some good moves here. We'll be picking some other things up, which is good. That's what we want to do. Again, I think these things are the things that can help a solo playthrough go really, really well if you can, again, get lucky and find a couple of these things. Now, we ended up picking up these. I need more corrugated hose and a drill. I'll probably just pick this stuff up. I'm just going to do this right now because this is a upgrade we need desperately. And that's pretty cheap. So we will be ready. Once water collector is installed, we're boom, right away hitting this, getting it upgraded, and then we'll start making our 60 rounders so we can make some progress there. And then I wanted to check Flea Market. And I wanted to check. I think the best way to do this, I have an MP5 sitting somewhere. Let's go link search. Magazines. Oh, we can buy the 50 rounder. Okay, so we can buy this. Pause all that. Pause all those things that I said. We can buy that 50 rounder. I got an AK sitting around here somewhere, I think. I am just way wrong. I might be thinking of the... I'm just dumb. Okay. Be right back. Okay, my apologies, but I'm glad I checked. I would have felt really bad spreading misinformation and just being wrong. Not what I want to do. Not my intent. So again, apologies for jumping the gun on that. We got Gunsmith 2 and Gunsmith 3 completed. So let's just show these builds really quick. I've done a full video on the channel for every Gunsmith task, updated for this current wipe and this current patch. All of the Gunsmiths, every single one, in-depth breakdowns where you can buy the stuff, should you buy it on the flea market, etc., etc., etc. At this point in the wipe, you can buy this stuff. You can see we had about 840K. We spent about 200K to get this stuff. Mostly the magazines actually weren't that expensive. This mount for the MP5 is expensive, and the SD itself was like 55K. So that's where the vast majority of our money went through. So Gunsmith Part 2, very, very simple build. Get yourself a 16 rounder. You need an RP1. You need the B11 and a KSC foregrip. Fold it, ready to turn in. AK you get right off the rip for this, so you're good to go. MP5 is a little bit more interesting. I strongly recommend that you get a Navy 3-round burst SD version. That's with this foregrip. That's with the integrated suppressor. Makes the build way easier. You can find these on the flea market. Just literally search by the MP5. These will probably come up. They'll be farther down the list. Again, I bought this one for 55K. And then it's pretty simple. You need an SD, this B&T tri-rail mount. There is a separate mount that you can buy, I believe. No, I'm just kidding. You need this one, I'm thinking, for the Val. So you need this one, and then you have to put a TBL, which is the Nixstar laser module, on it. And then you need a 55 or a 50 rounder, which was only about 25K. Surprising. So we're going to actually go ahead and make a ton of quest progress randomly with this guy. We're going to get this turned in and complete. That opens up Signal Part 1. So we're starting to open up some nice quests for Shoreline, so we can head there pretty quickly. We get this. It opens up Gunsmith Part 4. We'd actually probably buy this and complete this as well. We'll maybe do that. Interesting thing here is we get a car battery, so we'll look to do that. Actually, does this give us only one mechanic rep? So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Bigger thing here would be this, and maybe work in Signal. If we need the extra rep to get him to level 2, we got to get to level 20 first, so not too concerned with that. There's some solid stuff here. Car battery I would want to get when we get to the point where we can turn it right into Therapist. Just makes that quest progress go quite a bit faster. So really, really nice progress on this. We get a whole bunch of actually good stuff. These RVG grips are fantastic for mods. We get some nice money back from that. Not quite what we spent, but really solid. We're going to sell these, and we probably hang on to the caps. A lot of people really like this Tri-Hawk as well. Good 3x scope. I'll probably end up selling it just to let you know, but that's me. You do with the items as you see fit. So long episode. I talked a lot. I really truly hope that this was a helpful episode for anybody that is working through this, about my thought process, kind of where I would spend my time. Hopefully some very good tips for you guys and gals out there if you're looking on just working through what do you do when you get to level 15. That was, I hope, what I was able to answer was that question in the course of doing this. There are plenty of other ways that you could spend this money if you want to do that, or you could just save up and go right for your stash upgrade. Perfectly acceptable. Had we not bought everything that we did, we probably actually could have stash upgrade going to level 2 right now. Be very close, but we might have been able to get right to that 2.5 million. So play around with what you want. If you're finding some success there, or if you're struggling in a specific area, do that. If not, you've seen how we can spread out quite a bit of money, which is really, really helpful. So again, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I glossed over too quickly or I didn't cover enough in depth. Really love your feedback, because I want to just put out good information and good kind of tactics and thoughts out there for you guys and gals. So I'll wrap it up here. Like, comment, subscribe, flash some socials, links in the description. Check us out. Come talk to us live. Drop out in the Discord. Ask some questions. Hit me up. Love to help you out if you have any questions or need to figure out where to go. And I look forward to, we're going to be able to make some really nice progress in the next couple of episodes here, now that we've got keys, we've got flea market access and all that stuff. So really look forward to do that. So we'll knock that stuff out. And yeah, with that one, Doc, Average Camera Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll catch you in the next Escape episode. Peace.